Hello everyone. Meet two mice with two very different lives. The town mouse wears shiny shoes and lives among the big bright lights. The country mouse loves the quiet rustle of cornfields and the fresh morning dew. One day they swap their homes, and both get more than they ever bargained for. The country mouse lived in a small cozy hole near an old oak tree. The roots made a perfect roof over his head. Every morning he woke up to the sound of birds, not car horns. He breathed in the smell of damp earth and wild mint. His breakfast was plain barley and cool water from the brook. He did not have much, but he never felt poor. His world was green and gold and wide open. One afternoon his cousin from the big city came to visit. The town mouse stepped out of a dusty carriage and looked around. His whiskers twitched at the simple spread on the wooden table. Just beans and hard bread and a single slice of apple. He tried not to frown, but his nose gave him away. "You eat this every day?" he asked. "My dear cousin, you are missing out on the real world. Come with me to the city. I will show you a life of soft cheese and sugar cakes and velvet chairs." The country mouse felt a twitch of curiosity. He had heard stories about the city. The lights never went out. The floors were smooth and cold. And the food? The food was endless. He looked back at his quiet little hole. Maybe he had been hiding from adventure. He packed a tiny bag made of a leaf and off they went just as the sun began to set. The city hit him like a wave. It was loud and hot and smelled of smoke and strange spices. People stomped by with heavy boots shaking the ground. The town mouse led him through a crack in a tall brick wall. They entered a grand house with shiny marble floors. The pantry was a treasure chest. There were chunks of yellow cheese, dried figs, candied orange peel, and a mountain of soft cake crumbs. The country mouse had never seen such a feast. His eyes grew as wide as buttons. His mouth began to water so much he had to wipe his chin. This is the life, he thought. He reached for a crumbly piece of golden cake. But just as his tiny teeth sank into the sweetness, the floor shook with a thunderous roar. A giant gray cat shot out from the shadows like a furry cannonball. Its eyes were green fire. Its claws scraped the stone floor with a sound that made his bones rattle. "Run!" screamed the town mouse. The two mice bolted across the cold marble. Their tiny hearts pounded like war drums in their chests. The cat leaped and crashed into a stack of pots, sending a terrifying clatter through the house. They squeezed under a heavy oak door, their bellies scraping the wood. They tumbled into a dark, dusty corner behind a forgotten broom. The cat's massive paws slid under the gap, its claws clicking and searching. It was so close the country mouse could feel the wind from its movement. He held his breath. He could feel his whole body trembling like a leaf in a storm. His ears were ringing with fear. He thought about his quiet bed under the oak tree. He thought about the sound of rain on the leaves, not the sound of claws on stone. The town mouse just shrugged his shoulders and whispered, "That happens sometimes. Just wait a bit and we can sneak back out for the pudding." The country mouse stared at his cousin in total disbelief. Sneak back? Was this what it cost to eat soft cheese and sleep on velvet? Every single bite came with a side of pure terror. He was full of cake, but his spirit felt hollow and cold. In that dark corner he made a decision. "I cannot live like this," he said, his voice shaking but firm. "You have food I only dreamed of seeing. But you pay for it with your heart racing every second. I would rather have my dry bread and a full heart than this feast and a pulse that never rests. Goodbye, cousin." He slipped away from the marble house and ran toward the smell of wet grass and open air. He did not stop running until the city noise faded to a distant hum. He did not stop until he saw the stars clear and bright above the meadow. Back in his own little hole under the oak tree, he took a deep, long breath. The air was cool and clean. Everything looked different now. The simple bean on his plate was no longer a sign of a boring life. It was a shiny badge of freedom. This story is about more than just two mice. It is about you and me sitting right here. How often do we scroll through our glowing phones and think, "I want that life. That shiny house. That fancy job. That perfect holiday smile." We see the sparkling parts of someone else's story and we forget the dark struggles we cannot see. The city lights might be beautiful, but they can also cast long and frightening shadows. The quiet country road might seem empty, but it offers a deep peace you cannot buy with any amount of money. The truth is, there is no perfect life anywhere on this earth. There is only your life. Maybe it is time to stop looking at the feast on someone else's fancy table. Maybe it is time to find the real magic in the food already sitting on your own plate. Because the best kind of rich is living without a shadow of fear hanging over your head. Remember, better dry bread eaten with peace than rich food swallowed with worry. Thank you for listening. Keep learning and be kind to your own story.
能以非母语者的身份专注学习到现在，这本身就是很棒的进步。真诚感谢你的观看。如果你觉得本期内容实用，点赞或留言让我知道你的想法，这对我持续创作非常重要。我们下期见。